What's up? What's up? What's up? So this is just kind of a follow-up to one of my most recent videos. Um, got a couple crazy emails and had a couple crazy conversations. So I do fully believe that current Jehovah's Witnesses are victims of propaganda, lies, deceit, all of it. But I also have to keep in mind that couple key things. One of them is that hurt people hurt people. And that's true. We see that all the time, having nothing to do with religion. You know, we see it when we see a couple who've been together for a long time. They love each other. They speak nothing but good of each other. One of them cheats, and then the next thing you know, they're telling each other that they're no good. They're a dirty piece of crap. They hate them. They brought their life down. That's why they wanted to be with their cousin anyway. You know, all kinds of stuff starts getting swung around, Then they go to court and they're telling the judge how terrible each other are. But these are two people who loved each other, but they're hurt. And when one gets hurt, they hurt the other with words. The other one hurts back. And then it's just, hurt going back and forth. People are just giving it out, so they're going to get it back. You give that out, you're going to get it back. So I have to remember, dealing with a lot of XJWs, there's a lot of pain involved. People are still in pain. People went through a lot. Some people did. And, they're hurt, so they hurt or attempt to hurt other people with their words. So to me, like I said in another video, all the people talking down upon all the current Jehovah's Witnesses doesn't really make sense to me. We're talking about two different classes though. So the governing body, yes, I don't feel like they're victims. I feel like they are deliberately hurting people. They are deliberately making victims of people, lying to them, and causing family, issues. And they have been for, a very long time. I don't think they're victims. I think they are the victimizer. But the current Jehovah's Witness that you just see walking around knocking on doors, or just the average witness, thinks what they're doing is right. They've made a decision to believe in a religion that they think is going to lead them to everlasting life, living on a paradise earth, and they'll be able to protect their families and give their family this great gift. You and I know, their beliefs don't make sense, know that the propaganda is very thick, but what people have to remember is that at some point they were they were a current JW also. And while they were a current JW, all the facts that exist now existed then. The 1914 false prophecy existed then. So if anyone, believes it now, or believe in the doctrine now and doesn't look at those things, it makes just as much sense as when the XJWs were a witness and they didn't want to look at those things either. You don't go digging up those things normally if you're a Jehovah's Witness. False prophecies are abundant within the organization. We know that. To me, the doctrine is completely false, and doesn't make sense. But when you're in it, you're not going to go and try to look into that. It's called denialism. Denialism, if you've ever taken any sort of sociology or psychology class, you know something about denialism. So it's much easier, psychologically, it's much more comfortable to accept something that will make your life feel better, or will be easier to process. It is psychologically uncomfortable for people to really dive into their religion and think that their religion is false, or dive into the teachings, dive into all the prophecies that have been given. Every religion out there, don't care what the religion is, every single religion, if you follow it, you have to believe in a little bit of denialism, a lot of denialism, because these religions all come from the same source, and if you really start looking back and going back before the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, you realize that things were a lot different, especially for Christians. At some point, Christians went from being the oppressed to the oppressor. They went from being powerless and being hunted down to being powerful and doing the hunting. regardless of what denomination you believe in. Everyone needs to remember that Charles Taze Russell was simply, I think, like what, a 17-year-old in walking around Pittsburgh, went to some church that he liked some of the teachings but disagreed with some, and kind of created this whole thing. The teachings that he taught then are way different than what are taught now. Russell and then Rutherford kind of took the organization by force, you know, and things kind of splintered then. But people look back at history more when they're outside of something. When you're in it, you don't really want to hear it, you know, because it's psychologically uncomfortable. We see it all the time in situations that have nothing to do with religion. We see it with people when there may be tons of signs that their spouse is cheating. You know, they may find a number, you know, some phone numbers balled up in the pocket when they go to do the laundry. There might be some unexplained hotel charges on a credit card statement. There might be times when someone says they're at work and you go by the job, you realize they're not really there. Lies that are giving you clues and are telling you, hey, this isn't right. You use denialism because it's more comfortable to just say, nah, that's my spouse, they wouldn't do that to me. That's my husband, or that's my wife, they wouldn't do that to me. It's easier psychologically, because once you start down that path, if you find out it's true, then the road that it's going to take you on can be seen as a very dark road. We see it also with people when they might have a family member who uses drugs. You know, the signs are there. Money starts coming up missing. Their physical appearance changes. They start hanging out with some weird, you know, people that they hadn't been hanging around with before. They start staying in their room and not wanting to socialize with the family. Things like that. You know, how many times you see on TV someone says, if I would have just, you know, followed those signs, I saw the signs, but I was in denial. Those signs are there, but we practice denialism. It's a normal part of human nature in all walks of life, not just with religion. Religion, you know, is where it's used a lot, but it's used in all different walks of life. You know, with religion, with Jehovah's Witnesses in particular, it's easier to take the weak explanation that New Light has been given to the governing body. It's easier to accept that than to say, no, it's all just fake. Because then if you say, no, it's all just fake, then you know, where do you even go? Because I don't care what religion you go to next, if you dig enough, you're going to find it's fake too. You know, they're all fake in my eyes. And they've been used, at least in our modern day society, religion has been used mainly to just for power and to enslave minds. You know, I don't care what religion you go to, they're all used the same. And they all have the same source, you know. But Jehovah's Witnesses in particular deny the clues that they're seeing, or as everyone knows, they're taught while you're in the organization, don't even go look at the clues, because that's Satan trying to lead you astray. Those are apostates trying to lead you astray, and they know how to prey on your mind, and they're going to just try to trick you when really they're the ones doing the tricking. But if you are in, you don't see those things. That doesn't make you stupid. That makes you a human. And it makes you, you know, you're just engaged in normal human nature, denialism. Once you get out, once you start wanting that freedom, it starts to, you know, once you open that Pandora's box, it'll never stop. But while you're in, you make excuses, you know. Same thing, and like I said, things that have nothing to do with religion. People who are being abused sometimes will make excuses for their abuser. No, he really loves me. No, you know, it was my fault. I did this, I did that. He just has a drinking problem. He's fine. We'll make excuses. You know, there's been people who have been kidnapped who sympathize with their kidnapper and wanted to protect their kidnapper once they were out and free. You know, human nature is a very interesting thing. But when you are fed propaganda and when you are fed lies and deceit, it's not easy to just say, no, I'm going to push all that to the side and, you know, I'm not going to be a witness anymore. And especially XJW should understand that, because they were in those shoes. When they were in those shoes, if they wanted to, they could have looked and researched and found out about 1914 and how the society was wrong. They could have looked and researched about 1975. They could have looked, you know, as especially over the last, you know, 20, 30 years, how the prophecy of the generation of 1914 not passing away just simply wasn't true. It couldn't be true. And then, now the organization is being fed this crazy overlapping generations thing. That's the craziest thing ever to me. But people could have done that at whatever point they made it they took those steps to become an XJW, and sometimes they lose track of the path they had to take to get there, and they lose track of the fact that other people aren't at the step you're at now. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. That just means they're not at that step yet. They may never get there. If they do, great, but they've got to get there. You can't go in with a bat and try to beat it into someone's head. And regardless of whether it has to do with this or any other situation in life, to me, I don't care if you want to call it karma. I don't care if you want to call it the laws of attraction, if you want to give credit to God and to Satan for it, whatever, being blessed or whatever you want to call it. I'm a firm believer in the energy that you put out into this world. It's the same energy that you get back. So if that's negativity, if that's hatred, if that's, whatever negative thoughts you have, if you wake up in the morning thinking, hey, how can I be negative today? How can I, put someone down or make fun of someone or call someone a name today? If that's what you want to do, that's the same kind of energy that will return to you. I've seen it in my own life, I don't attribute it to a deity, but I do know that it exists in our world for whatever reason. I do believe that we have a creator. I'm not an atheist. I believe we have a creator here on this earth. I believe we were created, but I don't believe in religion. I believe religion is a joke. It's a trap. It's enslavement. It comes from the same source, a manipulated source. People need to do a lot of research into the Council of Nicaea. They need to do a lot of research into Constantine and his conversion. They need to do a lot of research into early Christianity. And a lot of the parallels, with a lot of the older, what we would call mythologies. So because of that, me personally, I don't believe in religion. I believe it's a joke, but I do believe we have a creator. So, and I'm still always learning. But so for me, I don't attribute and we can call it laws of attraction, for ease of conversation. I believe that's real. And I believe if you have a negative heart and negative mind and spew out negativity, that's what you're going to get back. You'll see it translated in different areas and different walks of your life, but if you put out positivity, and if you have a positive mind, a clear mind, and clear plans, and try to help others, and you'll also receive that back. I firmly believe in that. So, I say all that to say I've got to remember when dealing with some people that that's where they are. That's the spot they're at. They'll probably, I have to think, as time passes and people are able to evolve into other forms of themselves, they'll probably look back and realize things, they could have said or done things differently before. But again, just like when you're being a witness, when you are being an XJW, you are also at a different position. Everyone's at a different position. Some people are XJWs and they just started going to another church, so they still want to be a Christian. They still want to, partake in those things. They just don't want the Jehovah's Witness side. Other people have continued going to other levels where they keep doing research where they say, I don't want to be a part of a church, period. Some of them switch to a different religion altogether. Maybe they want to be Hindu or Buddhist or Muslim. Maybe they become an atheist. Maybe they become an agnostic. But each person's on their own path, but to chastise a person because they are not on their path at the place where you may be or happen to be on yours, to me, makes no sense. It kind of shows a lack of a person's own intelligence, and it's definitely not compassionate. It's definitely not loving, because to me, the average Jehovah's Witness who thinks they're doing right, there's no reason for me to be angry at them. I'm angry at not even angry. but I guess I am a little bit angry at the leadership, you know, where I feel like they shouldn't be doing people like this. You know, they shouldn't be misleading people and giving them propaganda, and setting people up for failure basically in life. You know, I don't know if people are aware, but right after the 1975 prophecy did not come true, in early 1976, the organization came out and said, well, people only thought that because, you know, they had taken things too far in their own minds. I don't remember exactly the terminology they used, but people had taken things, had looked at things wrong, or had looked into what we had, you know, put in publications wrong, and they shouldn't have sold their farms or not planted their crops, or, you know, done all the different things, sold their homes. They shouldn't have done those things. That was their fault. So they came and said the war's going to end in 1975. And they came back in 1976 and said, oh, y'all shouldn't have believed us. You know, that, why on earth would y'all do that? You shouldn't have done all that. Oh, well, ruined your life. Oh, well. You know, and all the other missed prophecies before that. Obviously, the organization is false. The men at the leadership know it's just a business. Each publisher equals X amount of dollars a month, even if it's only 10. However many witnesses there are, if everyone gave 10, they can easily balance their P&L for the business, you know, and know, okay, we're down on money or we're up on money, which means we're losing people or we're up on people. It's a business. They know it, and they know that they're manipulating people. But the average witnesses that are in, you know, I feel compassion for them. I feel like they're being misled. I think they need some love, and they need to be allowed the time to come to grips with whatever, you know, decision they're going to make eventually, because not everyone's on the same stage of understanding, and maybe they never will, you know. But firmly, I believe that witnesses are victims. Most of them. Obviously, if you're a child molester in a Kingdom Hall and you're molesting children, come on, obviously you're not a victim. Someone sent me an email, said I must be sympathizing with the people abusing children. Come on, man. Makes no sense. I'm not talking about someone who's in there committing crimes against people. Of course they're not a victim. They're taking advantage of the faulty system that the governing body has set up, the weak system that preys on people that they've set up. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the average, everyday, the majority of witnesses that you see. They're not stupid. They're not dumb. They're being humans. They're following a faith that they think is right. I know it's not right, but when I was a witness, I thought it was right too. You know, I practiced some denialism too, because things didn't make sense to me, some key things, but I still pushed to the side and said, you know what, nah, it's close enough. You know, it's close enough and be a witness. So that's what people do. You know, I think I was watching a XJW Critical Thinker video. I think JT said someone told him when he was leaving at the beginning, I'd rather be right with the organization, I'd rather be wrong with the organization than right with you, JT. I think that I may have butchered that quote, but I think that's what he said. And a lot of people feel that way, even if they feel like it's wrong. They've seen the facts. They've done a little bit of research, but they're like, nah, I'd rather be wrong and keep this whole social structure, family structure, religious structure, than be right and travel down that dark path that leads to I don't know where, you know. So that's all. You know, I just wanted to make a quick follow-up video, talk about some things I got to remind myself of. Hurt people hurt people. And I think I heard it in a Jay-Z song. I know he got the quote from someone else, but he said, a wise man told him, don't argue with fools, because people at a distance can't tell who is who. So I got to keep that in mind too, you know. When conversations start going crazy, and you know, there's some XJWs out there that throw out some crazy, they're throwing out as much propaganda as the witnesses are. There's some crazy stuff out there if you look at it. But I don't think they're stupid either. I think they're, like I said, they're hurt, they're digging, they're scratching, they're clawing, and they want to strike back. They want to strike back, man. I get it. But you know, just wanted to do a follow-up video, touch on a couple more of those things. I do not feel Jehovah's Witnesses in the Kingdom Hall who happen to be hurting someone are victims, but the average one is. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks for taking your time.